Alright, hey guys. In the last video I was talking about demand determinants. So in this video we're going to talk about supply determinants. Okay, so let's draw our graph. Supply, demand, quantity, price. First price, P1, Q1. Okay, here are the supply determinants. There's actually a acronym just like for demand determinants. It's ROTTEN. Okay, R is resource goods. O is other goods prices. T is taxes and subsidies. Other T is technology. Obviously it doesn't matter which way you put those as long as you remember both of them. This is future expectations, just like on demand. Abbreviate expect. And this is number of sellers. Okay, what does it mean? R is resource goods. Resource goods are what go into making the product. So for example, let's say this is the graph for making apple pie. If the price of apples falls, if it decreases, that means we can make apple pies cheaper. So we can make more apple pies now. So supply increases. Now let's say that instead of the price of apples decreasing, instead the price of dough increases. Since the price of dough is increased, that makes it more expensive for us to make apple pies, so we're going to end up making less because we can't afford to make as many as we could before. And just like before, this is what happens. When supply decreases, the price will increase, so here from P1 to P2, and the quantity will decrease, Q1 to Q2. So when supply changes, one will increase and the other will decrease. Alright. Okay, other goods prices. That is a pretty tricky one actually. So I'll actually go and skip that until we finish everything else. I want to keep that one for last. Taxes and subsidies. For taxes and subsidies, think about this. The government puts a tax on the creation of cars. It's the production of cars. So now, no, let's make a better example. The pollution emissions from cars. So your cars don't meet the requirement, so they're being taxed because they emit too much pollution. So since now you have a tax and you have to pay the government some money for every car, you can make less cars now because it's more expensive to make a car if you include the cost of the tax. Subsidy means the government gives you money to make that product. So let's say the government wants to subsidize the car industry. So they're going to give you money to make more cars. So now you have more money, you can make more cars, and supply increases. Pretty simple. Let's actually look at what happens there when supply increases. When supply increases, the price decreases, and the quantity increases. By the way, notice this. When supply increases, look at the equilibriums. They're both on the demand curve. So look at that. It's a movement along the demand curve, and what did we say that meant? A change in quantity demanded. So since the quantity increased, it's an increase in quantity demanded. Also, remember when we did the demand determinants in the last video? Let's show that here too. If the demand increases, the quantity down here increases, right? But look at that. It's a movement along the supply curve. There's 2 points on the supply curve. So that increase in quantity, it's an increase in quantity supplied. Now, the company's going to supply more of that product. Make sense? Alright. Technology. This relates back to the production possibilities curve. If we can make Now we have new technology to make cars faster, better, and cheaper, we can make more of them and supply increases. But if something breaks down, technology gets worse, something like that, that won't usually pop up on the AP exam. Supply will decrease. Next, future expectations. Just like in demand, if a supplier expects, or for some reason expects that the price of gas tanks will go up, they think the price of gas tanks will go up, they're going to make more cars now because they want to make them cheaper now so they don't have to pay more later. Also, similarly, if they think the price of gas tanks will decrease, that's going to make it cheaper for them to make it. So they're going to make less now, supply decreases, and more later because it's going to be cheaper for them to make them later because gas tanks will be cheaper. And number of sellers, just like the number of buyers but in supply. If there's more sellers, supply will increase because all of those sellers are supplying something. So supply decreases from S, which was the original amount of sellers, to S1, which is the new amount of sellers. Rather, the new supply, in addition, including the new supply from the new sellers. Also, similarly, if the amount of sellers decreases, that's going to have less supply because that means there's less sellers that are providing something, so supply decreases. Because think about it. If you have at S, you have three suppliers, and let's say they're all supplying 5 cars. Then at S1, you have less suppliers. Let's say you have 2 suppliers there, and they're all supplying 5 cars. So you went from having 15 cars supplied to 10 cars supplied. So there's your decrease in supply. Alright, so those are the determinants of supply and how it affects supply and demand curve. In the next video we're going to talk about something called I'm not going to confuse you about that yet. Just stay tuned and watch the next video.